I think of it, food is like budgeting.
The first step into like losing weight or whatever is just tracking their food.
Everyone just wants that one like fix. Just give me the thing.
And that's 50% mentally in the beginning, to just get yourself to a level where you're willing to go to the gym, where you're willing to eat healthy, where you're willing to make those changes. You're going to have that battle every single day.
That's a perfect example. It's something that you can control.
Eating healthy is too expensive.
If you want to change your life, you will. And if you don't, you won't.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Totem Podcast. Remember that an act of rebellion is to question. And if you haven't smashed that subscribe button, you should do us a solid. Hit it, because we got over 220,000 views. Yep. And most of the people aren't subscribed. They're letting us hang in, but that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, we have a very special guest today. It might not seem like it, but fitness is important to us. Even though we don't look jacked, we don't have abs or any of that stuff.
I found a mirror at my house, though, Eric. I'm renting it out. It looked pretty good today. I'll rent it out for you guys if you guys want to take selfies or whatever with it. It was looking pretty good this morning.
Is it a skinny mirror?
No, it's just that I did it. I got a pump gut, so I'll rent it out.
Okay. No, but just like a little bit of just backstory on me and why fitness is important to me is I started I've always been into the fitness industry, fitness world and stuff. Since high school. I'd play football, basketball, I'd be just weightlifting in there and all that. But I didn't get serious about it until 3 years ago, because I always went to the gym once a week, twice a week, and I was like, I'm good.
Right.
But then I wouldn't watch what I ate, and I'd just get big, balloon up. and then 3 years ago, I finally got a scale, and I weighed myself when I was 320 pounds. So then that's when I actually got serious about it. And then since then I've lost 20 pounds. Or no, not 20 pounds, 70 pounds.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, it might not look like it because I'm not where I want to be yet, but
it's hard. It's hard to do that.
It's improved my life, and I know Monica has some experience in it too. Is you just feel better, you look better, you just perform better.
Yeah, it turns into a lifestyle.
Before we get too into it, I want to give you a little intro. I did some research. You got a pretty good resume. So if you competed in the natural bodybuilding,
yes,
that's the natural one. That's a big word right there.
It is keyword to that, natural.
Yeah. You competed for gymnastics for 14 years, so you're an athlete, not just how do you say, just a trainer. You're an actual athlete.
Right.
But I kind of want to start. I want you to break down. There's a quote I seen about you, and it says, I'm not a trainer, I'm a coach. I don't have clients, I have athletes. So
yes.
Break that down for me.
I love that, because I think language is powerful. And I think language correlates to your own confidence and your own mindset about who you are and your identity. So for me, being an athlete my whole life, I knew how important it was to have good coaches, to have a good team, to have that good support, and to have that trust with a coach, right? To be able to understand the process and move through it to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. So now, as a trainer, everybody can call themselves personal trainers. That's great. That's a great word if that's what you feel, can relate to you. Yeah.
Just put it on your bio, and now you're a trainer.
Right. I mean, you can, but I think there's a difference when you are a coach and you're fully invested in your athletes, right? So I don't like to call them clients, because clients can relate to anything. You can be in real estate and have clients. You can be, different backgrounds.
That also feels like transactional when you use clients.
Exactly. I agree. That's the perfect word for it. I feel like there's more of a business relationship to that, when it becomes a lot more than just business, when you're, trying to help these people, because I think physical health and fitness relates a lot to the mental side of that. So a lot of people get in positions where they are uncomfortable and they're unhappy, or they're overweight, or they're stuck in a place in their life. And a lot of times it's related to something going on mentally. So once, as a coach, you can pull that out of them and you can figure that out and find that root cause, then you can help them move forward. And then that's when they start losing the weight, they start putting on the muscle, they start finding that inner confidence in themselves, or that drive, or, whatever it is to get them to where they want to be. There's mental obstacles involved in that. So going back to the language, when you call yourself an athlete, you're going to act like an athlete. You're going to embody that mentality. You're going to walk into the gym with your head held high, thinking I am an athlete. This is what I need to do to be an athlete. You have to eat well. You have to sleep well. You have to hydrate. All of those characteristics that you think of when you think of professional athletes. They are these kind of people. They have this grit, this tenacity. They're disciplined, right? They have have the habits, they have the mentality and the mindset, right? They know how to put in the work and they have good work ethic. So when you think of yourself in that way, you're more able to act like it. And then once you start acting like it, you are more likely to believe it. And then once you believe it, then at that point you can do whatever you want, because, sky's the limit at that point, because then you know in your gut, in your heart, you are that person. You embody those characteristics, you have that drive, and you're able to accomplish those things,
How necessary do you think it's for somebody to have like someone in their corner, like a coach? Because we all know where we're going to get if we just eating donuts and pizza all the time. We know we have to work out.
Right.
We know. So
Accountability. That's what happens. It's what you need. Because everybody does. You do, in some level, know if I eat donuts, I'm going to probably be fat over time. If I eat donuts every single day, it's going to add up, right? Versus like, instead of having a donut, I'm going to eat an apple every single day. Like changing those little tiny things, those little habits, they add up over time. Whether they're negative results or positive results, those little tiny habits, ultimately, over time, it's like money, right? Compounding interest over time. Like, it adds up. So I think of it, food as like budgeting. If you want to think about it in the finance aspect of that, if you think about budgeting every month, you're going to make a certain amount of money in your income, and that's what you have to spend. Or you have a certain amount of bills that you have to spend money on, right? And then whatever's left over is like your fun money, right? So I think about food and nutrition in that way too, where it's like, what you need to have in the day to get by. What you need to do to be able to have enough energy to get through the day. But how are you going to spend that? How are you going to spend those calories? Are you going to spend them all on junk and then feel like crap? Or are you going to spend it on quality foods or quality, exercise and time, and then later feel great? And then over time it adds up. So
I think for like a lot of people, the first step into like losing weight or whatever is just tracking their food.
Oh yeah, it is.
If you just tell them go about your normal day as you would, and just track everything you eat, by the end of the day, they're probably gonna be scared.
Yes, and that's a big thing too. I'm like, just write it down. You don't like track it, write it down. Just look at it, because originally people don't. They don't think about their habits every day. They don't think about things being like added up over time. So once you do, like you said, writing it down, you understand. Oh, these are my habits. This is where I could probably improve. This is where I could probably change something out. Right? You can see it visually, then like what I need to do to move on. But when you have a coach that's able to support you in that, instead of shaming you, because we're always harder on ourselves, right? Every single person. We all have our own insecurities. We already know like what our weaknesses are and our strengths. But a lot of times we focus on the negative, especially when it comes to ourselves. So you can look at that and be like, oh my gosh, I eat donuts every day. Like, I'm so fat. I'm so lazy. I'm going to be, slow, and I'm a slob, right? We are so quick to judge ourselves, and we're so quick to shame ourselves for that. So when you have a coach, when you have that accountability, you have that person to support you and be like, no, like, give yourself some grace, give yourself some patience here, some compassion. You are a human. Now you know where we can improve, and that's what we're going to do. So you have somebody like to support you in that sense and catch yourself from being abusive to yourself, because it's not. I believe in, as a coach and as a trainer, in order to get yourself to like move forward and accomplish any sort of goals, whether it's nutrition related, fitness related, life related, you have to be able to give yourself some grace. And that's different than like making excuses, right? When you make excuses, that's a whole different thing. But when you can understand, okay, I'm human. Today I had a donut. Tomorrow I'm going to do better. That's the mindset, right? Moving forward.
How do you set that line though? Because a lot of people, they go from the grace to the excuse, and they pretty much just blends in, and now everything's pretty much excuses. Like, how do you know when to separate it?
So when it becomes a pattern like that, so those habits. So if it's like an everyday thing, oh, well, I had a donut today, but tomorrow I'm going to have an apple. And then you go to the next day and you're like, well, I had a donut today, but guess what? I'm just going to do better tomorrow. And if that adds up and it's that same pattern where you're like saying you're going to do it, but then you don't, then that's when it's an excuse. Right? So then it becomes like, oh, every day I'm going to say I'm going to do better. But once you stop actually following through with that, then it's an excuse. If you do, like the next day you have an apple and you're like, yeah, I feel great, then that's something you need to celebrate. You should celebrate. That's one small little victory that's going to add up. So then you feel good about yourself. You're more confident in yourself. You're more able to make that choice again the next day because you feel good about it, right? Internally. And then that can become a habit. So it's like switching that. So, but then if the next day you have a donut again, and you're back in that shame spiral of like, oh no, I had a donut today. I'm so awful. I'm so fat. I'm so lazy. You know, I'm gonna have a apple tomorrow. Well, then the next day you don't. So I think that's where the line is for me. I think you can have some wiggle room, some compassion. You're allowed to have cheat meals. I think that's a big thing too about Thanksgiving coming up. Everybody thinks like, oh my gosh, what are the Thanksgiving hacks? How do you stay on plan? How do you stay on diet? You don't. It's one day out of the entire week. You have 7 days in the week. If you're on plan 6 days out of that week, you're still going to be on track. One day is not going to throw you over the edge.
Well, also, like, the big meal for Thanksgiving is the turkey. Is all kinds of protein in there,
yeah, turkey is protein. But then that's, again, those individual choices are your own. That's your choice. Like, for me, I love turkey and, like, mashed potatoes and my grandma's homemade tortillas and, you know, like, all of the carbs and the fatty stuff, too. I love it. But I know 6 days out of this week, I'm at the gym, I'm eating on plan, I'm going for walks, I'm doing my strength training, my workouts, I'm doing my lifts. One day in this whole week is not going to dictate my the last year of training that I've done, you know? So it's that mentality too of like, oh my gosh, like all this anxiety because I can't eat anything and I have to restrict myself on this holiday. No, you're just making yourself more stressed. More stress is more cortisol levels. More cortisol levels help you maintain fat. So you're just causing yourself to be more stressed out and giving yourself more of an excuse to be fat or to gain fat, right? Because you're putting yourself again in that shame spiral. So that's what you have to separate is like the positive side of that and the negative. Some people think the negative is what's going to help them lose that weight because they're going to shame themselves into it. They're going to make themselves feel so bad that they want to feel good. But that, to me, is unhealthy mentally. It's unhealthy, and then you create an unhealthy relationship with food and with exercise, and that's not what you want because that's not sustainable over the lifespan. I'm all about like a lifestyle, like you said, like you made this huge jump, this huge cut, you changed your life, you lost all this weight, and now you're going to continue that, right? Because you know that it makes you feel good, not because of the number on the scale, not because of the way that you look, it's because of the way you feel now, right? And that's a journey, and that's a process for your whole life. We all have to deal with that over our lifespan.
But I will tell you, when I first started out, I was backwards.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it for like everybody else or anything, but I was like very like.
You get to a breaking point.
Well, dude,
I do believe that you do.
That fucking dryer, dude, it kept getting your clothes, dude.
The dryer kept shrinking my clothes.
Oh, bummer. It's the dryer's fault.
Yeah.
It is. It's the dryer's fault.
Exactly. But at some point, like how you're saying, like the excuses and giving yourself grace.
But I think you take responsibility for that, though. That's the thing. Once you can take responsibility for that and be like, hey, you know what? I have not made the best choices lately, and I'm in this position because of myself and myself only. That's like taking accountability and responsibility for that, and then figuring out like, okay, now I need to change something if I want to feel different. And you did. Mm-hmm. So it did. It started with that like negative connotation of like, I feel really fat and my clothes don't fit and I don't like this. That discomfort is okay because you do. You get to that point. I've been there. I've done that. I started in the same way where I was like, I'm fat. My clothes don't fit me. I don't like this. I don't like how I feel every day. I'm going to change it. That's where it turns positive though. Because you change it.
When was that flipping the switch moment for you? Because I mean, I know it's been like the last couple of years.
You know, as an athlete and being a competitive athlete my whole life, I started gymnastics when I was 3 years old and competed all the way through high school. So 14 years of being an athlete where that was not even an option for me. I was already on a diet plan at age 13. I was, working with specialized trainers. I was like practicing 30 hours a week. I was living that life, and that was a lifestyle that's only what I knew. Then I went to college and was a college athlete, diving for 4 years, same thing. I did 20 plus hours a week of training, and I had, very regimented like food and meal plans for that. And I was also a student, so I had to manage my time and doing all of that all at once. So that was my life. But then after college, that's when I hit the wall. I hit that wall because I no longer had like a set goal that I was working towards. As an athlete, you're constantly working, right, to improve, to get better, to compete.
And you always have practices.
Yeah, you always have practices, but you're always working to compete that year for that competition season, for those next meets, for those there's always a set goal and a timeline you're working towards. So after I got out of college, I was like, I don't know what to do with myself because I'm used to being on this like regimented schedule and working towards this certain goal. That's where I kind of fell off the wagon and kind of lost myself a little bit because I didn't know how to continue to stay in a routine that wasn't working towards a specific goal. So I didn't know how to internally motivate myself anymore because I didn't have like an end goal. I didn't have like a plan other than shaming myself and saying, oh, I'm just going to work out so I don't get fat. And that was like my negative mentality for a long time. Was that fine, I'll go to the gym so that I don't get fat, so I don't feel guilty, you know?
And that's how a lot of people start.
And that's how people start. And that didn't work for me. I stopped going to the gym for a while. I stopped, like just taking care of myself in that way. I went through some things personally in life and career-wise, and my schedule was off. I wasn't in the gym. I wasn't eating well, and my mental state was not good. It was not healthy. So I finally got out of that like a year and a half ago. Yeah, it was about a year and a half ago. And I finally realized, like, I need to change. Same as you. I stepped on the scale one day and was like, this is not okay. I'm not happy with the way that my body feels. I'm not happy with the fact that my clothes, I had to go up in sizes and things that I had never been in those sizes before. And that to me was like shocking. It was like a reality check of like, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to look at my life and I need to figure out how to move forward in a healthy way. So a lot of that was mental. Again, like I said, I think people have this mental block first that they have to get past in order for them to get through the physical. And so I did. I got through the mental stuff, and everything just clicked after that. I started feeling better, getting back into the gym. I had a plan. I was eating better, and I felt good about what I was doing. The pounds dropped like that. So I went from 170 pounds at my heaviest, which I'm 5 foot. I'm small. That's a lot of weight for a small person, to 132 pounds in 4 months. I was determined because I'd got through the mental stuff that was holding me back. Because a lot of your body responds to a lot of that too, hormonally, emotionally, like your digestive system, everything. If you're mentally not in a state where you're ready to like exercise and lose weight, your body will hold on to that. You like hold on to that fat because it's like a safety blanket. So once I finally got through that mental block, all the rest kind of like fell through for me, and it worked out like in that way where it was like, okay, I finally can release all of this. There was trauma related to that. There were other things like personally that I went through that changed me mentally, and I had to do a lot of work mentally to get through. But once I did, it was like everything else fell into place, And
if you had to put like hypothetically like a percentage, like say, how much would it be mentally? How much would it be? Like working out, and how much would it be the food? Like for you when you're barely starting off, because once you start going, you kind of get on the flow. But like when you barely start off,
I think in the beginning, the mental aspect is like 50% of it, and then it's like 30% food and 20% working out in the beginning, because you have to start slow. Because sometimes it can be overwhelming if you're trying to like just change your whole life and you're not used to doing that, right? But yeah, 50% mentally in the beginning to just get yourself to a level where you're willing to go to the gym, where you're willing to eat healthy, where you're willing to make those changes. It's 50% mental. You're going to have that battle every single day. You're going to wake up and be like, you know what? It's just easier if I go to Taco Bell today. You're going to have those tendencies because that's what you've built up over time. It's the
convenience.
It's the convenience. Or I'm so busy today. I don't have time to cook or meal prep. Or I hate cooking. I hate meal prepping. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to do it today. It's all of those habits, all of those routines that you're already in that is hard to break in the beginning. Really hard. But once you do, then at that point you're like, oh, I can do anything because now I've done this thing that was really hard for me. It was really hard for me to meal prep because I hate cooking, but now I do it and I enjoy it. And you have to change your mindset in that way. But then I think once you get going and you finally do find a good routine, you start meal prepping and eating better and feeling better, you start getting into the gym more, start feeling the progress in the gym, feeling the progress in your clothes. Then I think at that point, it's more like 30, it's like pretty evenly split, a third each way, right? Because then it's like a mental, every day you still have that mental struggle, but it's not as hard because you've built those habits and that discipline, right? Then same thing with the gym. You feel good about it since you know what you're doing now. You feel confident. You feel like you have a good routine in the gym. You know, you have a good support system there. You're great. Then, you know, like then the food part. Okay, I worked out, so now I know that I need to refuel and repair my body. So then you want to eat healthy because you've done all that work in the gym physically. When you're sore and when you're tired, there's a difference when you eat healthy afterwards the workout and when you don't. You either feel like crap afterwards and you don't make any gains in your strength training or your workouts, or you don't lose any weight. You feel a difference.
I feel like your appetite also changes.
Yeah,
like
you
when
start craving good things.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely crave protein. I do now because it's a mindset shift where it goes from thinking of food as just something you need to do to get through the day and just a general thing that everybody needs to survive, to using it as actual fuel and energy to repair your body. I don't have to track my macros every day anymore because I know exactly what my body needs and when my body needs it.
You kind of know if you're on point. You're kind of like,
I
kind of like overate a little bit today. Like,
you can feel it though, like energy-wise. If I know, like, oh man, I feel like so like foggy and mentally just like out of it, I know that my body needs good fats because good fats help with your brain, like your brain function and your energy in that way. Okay, I'm gonna have, you know, peanut butter and a rice cake or peanut butter and a banana or whatever it is. And then I feel so much better. Or I know like if I'm feeling like physically like just my muscles are sore and I'm tired from my workout, I need protein. My body needs to repair itself. I need that. Or if I know like, oh, you know, I'm kind of tired, like I need to go to work now and I have another client, but I need like a little boost of energy. Carbs. Carbs are quick. Or I'm going to the gym and I need like a quick boost of like a glucose spike, like just a little energy to get me feeling good in the gym. I have like a small Rice Krispie treat. You know, like I know exactly what I need to eat when I need to eat because I've taught my brain how to be aware of how my body is feeling.
What do you say to the people who are like, eating healthy is too expensive? That's not for me. I can't afford it.
I'm going to say that I started off really broke in all of this, so that's not an excuse because you can find ways to eat healthy on a budget.
Skip a fucking meal. Eat a meal.
Fasting.
Start fasting.
No, don't do that. That's bad. That's all bad too.
Fasting?
Fasting. You don't want to do all that all the time.
Let's break it down. Let me hear.
Fasting is just a temporary fix. And fasting, you just basically starve yourself, right? So you can lose a little bit of weight, but then the moment you start eating again, you gain it all back. So, fasting. And it also, fasting, if you do that, the more you do that over time, it messes with your hormone levels. And your hormone levels also relate to you losing fat.
Fasting in what way? Because there's different...
In extreme ways. Like in extreme fasting where people are like on 600 calorie diets and for days or months or whatever. Weeks.
So the way I fast, I do it different. So I'll pretty much...
You do intermediate.
I do like more intermediate, like say like 10 to like 6, I'll eat my calories, but I still eat the stuff that I'm going to eat. Mm-hmm. But I just go like a period without... Because as you were saying, the carbs and everything... Yeah. Carbs for me slow me the fuck down.
Well, it depends on what kinds of carbs. Not all food is created equal. That's another thing.
I'm not eating donuts either. But like carbs just like, and they're pretty healthy. I eat, so I try to eat more like whole foods. I don't eat like processed food, as much foods. So but still carbs in general slow me down.
What kind though? There's good carbs and there's bad carbs. There's good fats and there's bad fats. Like
with most of my meal prep stuff that I do, it'll be like more just like vegetable stuff, like more.
Okay, so you use your vegetables as your carbs.
Yeah, I'm not eating. I'm not eating like.
He's not doing like rice or potatoes as much.
Okay.
Or like bread. I'm not just like slamming down a sub sandwich. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Most of my diet, I would say, calorie wise, comes from meat.
Okay.
And I mean that's just how. I'll be doing something. I just eat something.
So you're like a high protein diet.
And I get like really. I just start feeling like you're saying when you're getting foggy. I mean, there's probably something else going on with me, but usually that when I eat, I'm just like when it's carbs. Yeah.
So it could be the amount that you're eating is too much because it's too much for you to digest at once. Because then you're getting tired, so your body's like trying to process all that food and digest it all, and it's taking you a while. Sometimes it can be the quality of the carbs. Like for me, actually, personally, red meat makes me feel like that. If I eat a lot of red meat, I feel tired. I feel like ready for a nap.
And I feel the other way around. For me, it's like like red meat. For me, it's just like I just drink like a Red Bull.
But that could be just a you thing that you're aware of, and you know that about yourself. That your body just takes a lot longer to process that, and it makes you feel tired and slow. So same thing. Red meat, I just don't eat it as much anymore because I do know that it affects me in that way. My body just takes a long time to just process it, and I feel exhausted and tired.
And that's a perfect point because like I'm saying what I feel better, and then so it's like everyone just wants that one like fix. Just give me the thing,
and that's the thing about like nutrition
everyone.
Specifically. Everybody's body's different. Everybody processes food differently. Everybody has different needs. Everybody has different genetic makeup. There's so many factors that go into it that. Like, that's why I won't, like, when people try and lose weight, they're like, this is the one fix that'll make you drop 40 pounds like that. Not necessarily.
Eat a salad every day.
Yeah, I'm like, there's not a lot of usually truth in that because every single person's body is different.
The biggest, like hype thing that everyone's like, I'm gonna do now. There's like keto, like you said, there's fasting. Like which is the main
like
one that people want? The fat, yeah.
I hate when people do restriction diets and they like just remove everything from their diets because then that doesn't help. Same kind of thing. If you're just eating like only protein and you remove all carbs, that's not.
You just crave it way more.
Yeah, but that's also not good for you. Your body needs carbohydrates are important for your body. Like you need them in your body for energy, for glucose, there's like hydration for, especially if you're doing strength training too, like you need that for recovery and for energy. So to completely cut it out. It's almost like you're
putting like a Band-Aid over the problem.
Right. And then again, same thing with those diets. If you restrict, remove all these things, when you put it back in and introduce it back into your diet, your gut is going to be angry with you. You're not going to be able to digest it well. You're just going to go back to where you were. It is like, it takes time to like create those new healthy habits, but it's a balance. It's not like completely removing one thing or another. Or it's finding out like some people are really sensitive to lactose and they don't know it. And then they just think that like when they're eating, they just actually when I think about nutrition and food and people in general, the biggest thing that I tell people is that I think we're all used to being at like a 70% level. In our daily life, we're used to feeling 70% all right. Based on what we're eating, we're sleeping, we just feel like at a 70, a 7 out of 10. That's how we feel on a daily basis. But that's normal. We've like adjusted to that.
So we know that like our 100.
We think that's our 100 because that's normal. But the moment you start really listening to your body, the moment you start finding out exactly how much you should be eating of these things, how much energy you're exerting in the day, when you start eating clean like that and you start feeling a difference in your energy levels, in your waistline, in your clothes, when you feel a difference in the gym and your workouts, your strength, then you realize what 100% feels like. Then you realize what you've been missing this whole time. And I think that's what they don't give it a chance enough to get to that point most of the time. They usually quit before it gets there. Or they start feeling good in that way and they get to that 100% level and then they think, okay, I'm good.
What's the biggest?
And then they go back to that,
What's the most common excuse that you get from people that are just like, when you barely start working with them or when they're not seeing results? Like what's their...
there's all the excuses.
Which is your favorite one?
I don't have time.
Which is your
I don't
favorite?
have time. Is a big one. I don't have time. Okay, but the thing about health, nutrition, fitness, life is all about priorities, right? We all have the same 24 hours in the day. What are you going to prioritize in that time? Obviously, you have husbands, you have kids, you have spouses, you have responsibilities, you have jobs, you have things that are important, right? But the more you keep putting off your own health in that, the less energy, the less capabilities, the less of you that you're going to be able to contribute to all of those other things. So my biggest thing is people when they're like, I don't have time, or I have to take my kids here, or I have to do this, or I'm always on the go, or I'm never home, or I don't like to cook. All of those things can be changed. They're not impossible things to fix, or they're not impossible. Like there's ways that you can still prioritize yourself and your family.
What I need to tell people is just that you're supposed to like, people are like, oh, I hate myself because I have to go to the gym. And I was like, you're supposed to like love yourself enough that you're willing to take yourself to the gym.
Exactly.
And you're willing to make time for yourself to be able to do all these things.
Right.
What did you say the other day? Remember we were talking about?
Wait, it was
I love myself, or was it? Something like that.
Yeah, you have to love yourself
like
enough to get to the gym.
Like
That's exactly right.
It's not that negative self-talk like, oh, I hate myself, so I'm going to make myself go to the gym.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I love myself, so I'm going to make myself go to the gym. It's just changing the, like how you were saying at the beginning.
The
like
language.
The language.
Yes, the language is
and
important.
Turn it positive, and then everything else just falls into place.
Right.
Like that.
And then you start to believe it. And then you start to believe, actually, you know what? I do love myself, and I am proud of myself, and I am confident in what I've been able to do in the gym and, do in my life. And you start feeling better. So then when you do think about going to the gym, it's a positive feeling you get when you want to go, instead of a negative thing that you're just putting off or dreading, right? Because that's how it starts out. Oh, I don't want to go to the gym. Oh, I'm feeling tired today. Oh, I'm lazy. No. I think another thing that I tell people too a lot is use your emotions as fuel. Use that as motivation. Because everybody talks about the difference between motivation and discipline, right? That's a speech we've heard 1,000,001 times, right? You're not always going to feel motivated, but the discipline will kick in. The more you do it, the more you'll make yourself go on the days you don't feel great. I think, for me personally, motivation comes from everything that I'm feeling that day, whether it's bad or good. If you're feeling tired, if you're feeling mad about something, if you're feeling sad about something, use that in the gym. Go there, take it out in the gym. If you're feeling happy, if you're feeling excited, if you're feeling good about something or feeling good about yourself or something good happened to you that day, great. Use that in the gym. Go to the gym and feel great. Like, I think there's no excuse not to go to the gym, because any range of emotions that you have in that day or feelings you have in that day or things that you're going through, you can use that in the gym. You can put that towards something productive in that day, like in the gym for yourself. Right?
Yeah, it's hard to stay like, say if you're mad or sad. It's hard to stay mad or sad when you're just like, I was saying the other day, when you're gasping for air.
Yeah.
Like go run on the treadmill. Let me know how being mad works for you. You're gonna forget you were mad and you're gonna just gasp for air.
Exactly.
Just
you
blow
do.
the smoke.
You do. And there's a lot of different things to that too, like brain chemistry wise. When you do exercise, right? You get those endorphins, you get those hits like dopamine because you feel good, you feel accomplished, you're exercising. You're always going to feel in a much better mood after you leave the gym than when you get there. And knowing that is a mindset switch too. So knowing that and telling myself, hey, you know what? I'm getting to the gym. I don't feel great right now. I had a crap day, whatever it is. But knowing that, I'm going to go anyways, because afterwards, I'm going to feel so much better. If the whole rest of the day is shit, you go to the gym, that's one thing that you can be proud of that you did that day. That's one thing that you can feel good about for the day.
So it's one thing that can stay consistent.
One win, though, that you can have for yourself in a day that maybe you had, your car broke down, you had a flat tire, you lost a client, whatever kind of crap day that you had that day, that's one thing that you can be proud of and take home as a win.
Because it's something, so that's something that's a perfect example, because it's something that you can control.
It is.
You can control if you can't control if someone wrecked into you. You can't really control it. I mean, I guess if you're not rotating your tires, but you can't. You can't really control those things.
Yeah, and in a world of things that we cannot control, the one thing you can control is how you take care of your body and your mind. And I think that's huge. When you have a crap day and all these things happen to you, or you feel like the world is happening to you, you say, no, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to make this happen for me, right? So it's changing that narrative for your day.
It's hard for everyone, but I always like to work out in the morning, because then you start living, I think you let other external things, like we're saying, and you start living your day reactive instead of active.
Yes.
You're just reacting to everything.
Instead of proactive.
You're just like,
That's the difference too. You're just letting it happen to you instead of preparing for it and being ready for it and making it happen.
Yeah,
there's a difference in that. Same thing. I'm not a morning person, but I have a client who likes to work out at 6 a.m. So guess what? Great. If that works for her, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the gym at 6 a.m. with her, because that's important to her and that's when she can do it. And I can make time in the rest of my day for that. I can be proactive and prepare the rest of my day, because I do. I have to prepare all my other clients for the day. I have to rearrange my schedule, or I have to bring my meals or bring my food, and I have to plan for it so that I am able to be 100% myself for every single client that day or the rest of my day. Instead of just being I'm going to go to the gym at 6 and then, oh man, I don't have any time to go home. I don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time for this and that. No, I'm already ready for it because I prepared for it.
And then too, working out during the day, or just when people are struggling, every time I go to the gym, it's always packed. If you don't like to work out with a bunch of people there, you go earlier in the day, and there's going to be less people there.
Exactly.
I've noticed that for sure, because I used to go at 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I work out at our apartment gym or whatever. And even then, it gets like super packed.
Yeah,
and it's small. So like when I switched to just going early in the day, there's nobody there, so I can just have the whole gym to myself.
Right. That's a great example. That's an excuse people have a lot too. Oh, there's too many people. I can't get a good workout in. Okay. Well,
they feel uncomfortable. They might
I don't want people. I don't want the pressure of people. There was actually one thing that in my own training, I realized I used to be very self-conscious about training in a typical gym. So being an athlete, being a gymnast my whole life, I always had like very specific training. I trained in a gymnastics gym for years where it was only gymnasts. I was never worried about training there. That's a completely different environment than training at a public gym, right? Different machines, different equipment, different exercises and things. Yeah, just a completely different environment where you're all these strangers walking around. You feel like they're judging you. So being overwhelmed by that idea, when I first started getting into the gym, I realized, again, another thing that just like switches like that. It's that little switch that flips and then you're like, wow, this is stupid. Why was I thinking about it like that? But my thing is, nobody in the gym cares about what you're doing as much as you do.
No one cares.
Everybody's there fighting their own battles. Everybody is there for their own reasons. Everybody there has their own goals or things that they're working out. They have their own headphones in. They're in their own world. Everybody's in their own bubble at the gym. Nobody cares what you're doing. Nobody does.
What brings it to the next topic. So what do you think about all these people, they just have their phones on their tripods and shit, and filming it, and then they get mad when you walk across it and all this, and
people get mad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't go. So I have a gym at my house, and I don't think I'll ever get a membership to a gym, just because I just don't like dealing with bullshit.
I think there's two sides of that because I am guilty of that. I do that. I record myself. I record some of my clients, but it's not.
But do you flip out on them when they walk in front of you?
No, absolutely not.
Because it's a public videos,
it's a public space. Oh yeah, it's a public space. So you have to be aware that can happen or that's going to happen. You have to be. But again, I'm a problem solver. So like you said, when people complain or freak out, there's too many people in the gym. There's so many ways you can solve that problem instead of using it as an excuse, right? You can go in the morning, change times when there's less people there. You can go to a different gym that's maybe smaller and less public. You can, you can work out at home. Some people just love to work out at home. That's totally fine too. You can find ways around that obstacle. Same thing when you're filming in the gym. I agree. If you want to film, if you want a quiet, calm background with no people, go to a different gym. Go early in the morning. Go do it at your own home or build your own home gym if you want that privacy. Build your own studio, whatever. But there are ways to go around that instead of being pissed off that somebody walked in front of your video. I think that's completely stupid. Everybody there is doing their own work. Nobody gives a shit about you and your videos.
And
they shouldn't. That's fine. Yeah. Everybody's there doing their own stuff, and if they're not paying attention, they don't see the camera, and it's a complete accident, then yeah, you cannot get mad at that. If they're doing it on purpose and it's intentional, then that's a dick move. But again, that's what you get when you go into a public space.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think that just adds to everybody now wants to be a gym influencer.
Right.
How do you feel about all those the fake gym influencers that they think that just because they work out and they recorded themselves that they have
I think I have no room to judge because I do those things, and I mean, I record myself in the gym, but not superficially, not to say I'm this person who knows everything, because I don't. I am still learning. I am constantly learning from other mentors and trainers and people and trying to improve my own training, but also training and knowledge for my own clients. I think the intention is what matters behind that. So if your intentions are good, I feel like my intentions are good because I want to do better, I want to learn more, I want to share more, I want to help more people with what I know, versus I'm doing this for myself to get attention on Instagram. There is a difference in intention.
What percentage do you think is the people actually trying to do good and the people that just want attention on Instagram though?
I feel like it's a lot of,
because I feel like it's a
50-50.
I feel like it's a 90-10, honestly.
It depends, but I think the 90-10 comes from the fact that you see those people more often in that space. Those people that want the attention, that are those people that like to film themselves, that are looking for that superficial validation and attention on social media. You see those accounts more often because they're posting more on purpose. They're working with the algorithm.
Does it mean they know more?
No, it means that they're working the system, the algorithms, right, of Instagram and Reels and TikTok. They're working those angles. They're working with the trending sounds. They're working with certain collaborations or whatever workout gear that that they're wearing, they're tagging all the people, they're using the right hashtags, they're working the system, and they're getting that attention, which is great for views. But like we talked about earlier, views don't necessarily correlate to business or to numbers, right? Like you can get views, you can get likes, you can get followers. That does not mean you're going to be successful in this business. That does not mean you're going to have 1,000,001 clients that actually genuinely get your time and effort and make real progress. So there's a difference in your time and your attention. Those people put all their time and attention in the way that it looks and like their status on social media. Does not necessarily mean that their clients are getting that same kind of attention.
Because we talk about it a lot. So it's like anybody can go out. They can go out, get a computer. They got a camera. Everyone can take photos.
Yeah.
There's people that take good photos.
Yep.
Great photos, and there's some guys that are really fucking
Yep.
good, and there's guys that suck. So it's
I
like
think-
everything with marketing, like it's the whole thing. Like
Right.
everyone
Experience.
can get a phone.
Right.
Instagram's
Everyone
free.
has a phone.
Everyone
and
has a
good
phone. So
quality
now,
videos and pictures on their phones, and they film. I film stuff on my phone. I don't have like a full setup. I don't have a professional camera that I take with me to the gym. I don't have like specific lighting. But again, my brand of like fitness is real. Like as authentic to me, like being here in person as it is to me being with my clients. I don't filter. I don't edit any of the videos with them. Half the time I don't even wear makeup because in the gym I don't even really believe in wearing makeup at the gym.
It's almost pointless because you're just
my
gonna
hair's
sweat it
up, you
off.
sweat it off, and your skin looks bad. Like, I don't care about that kind of stuff when there are people that do.
that's where I was
So-
going with it. Is that just because you have the high camera gear or
Right.
the fault doesn't mean you know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
That's my point. Like,
Oh, yeah. Like, you can have all of the videos, the editing, the photos, like, all of that. You can look great on camera.
it doesn't mean you know what you're doing.
But
That's what I'm
doesn't
saying.
actually mean that you know anything about anything. So it's just, it's finding somebody that fits with your aesthetic, your needs, and who can relate to you. And some people can, some people can't.
How do you deal with like because you do training for like I'm guessing everyone like male and female.
Yeah.
How are those conversations like with male? Like where you're talking like, hey, we got to do this, and then do you get that thing like the guys like, well, you're a girl, how you can tell me to work out or how to eat? Do you get that?
No, because usually people seek me out. And if they're seeking me out, there's something specific they like about the way that I train, or they have some kind of respect for what my process is or what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. So I've never really had any pushback, luckily, from men specifically saying like, well, you don't know how to train me, you're a female, because at the end of the day, if you are taking on male clients, you should know what you're doing, right? And if they're coming to you, they are looking for something from you that you specifically have to offer, right? But also, I think there's a dynamic too that's different from a male to a male to a female to a male. And I think sometimes it can be good and sometimes it can be bad. Sometimes it can be like man to man. You can motivate each other in an ego-driven way because it's like man to man. It's like masculine. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm this kind of guy and you want to be that guy. So you want to be the same kind of like built, strong person. Like you see that physique on that person. You know that they know how to push themselves and work hard. You want to be like them. Great. You're going to be motivated by them and that works for you. There's some people that are a little bit more insecure, less confident, who don't want that overly masculine man in front of them every day, reminding them that they don't look like that. Some people don't like that. And sometimes that's why they feel more comfortable with the female. Like, cause then it's like, it's not a competition at that point between me and them. It's not, it's just a full working relationship of like, hey, yeah, I know X, Y, and Z about this stuff. You do this stuff, you're going to be the best version of yourself. Not that you're looking to be like me and look like me. So there's a different dynamic there. Also, though, if you really want to get into it, the male to female dynamic, I am very cautious of this with boundaries because I am a woman, a small woman. Men like women that wear lots of spandex and are in the fitness industry and are, take care of themselves. There's that kind of ulterior motive too that you have to watch out for. They're
pretty much just trying to hit on you.
They just want to hit on you. Yeah. They want to date you, or they just want to like see you in spandex. They don't care what you're telling them to do.
It's like if I pay her to be my trainer, now she has to spend time with me.
Yeah,
she has to talk to me.
Yeah, she has to talk to me, or like she has to spot me, or like like it's more of like that kind of connection that they want.
Have you had to deal with that in the past?
As a female, yes. I mean, just in general, like from social media, Instagram, stuff like that, there's constant, like, DMs, messages from people on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. They're like, you look great. I want to work with you. It's not like, hey, you know what? You're really knowledgeable and I like the way that you train and your brand and, of who you are. Can I work with you? It's more of like, you look great. I want to work with you. So then in those instances, I usually say no because, again, I have to protect myself.
You already know how it's going to go.
Yeah, I have to protect myself, but also I'm not going to waste my time on people who aren't actually there to invest in themselves, right? If they're going to waste my time just to get my attention, that's not okay. It takes time away from my other clients, takes time away from people who actually need the help or want the help versus somebody who's just looking for a date or somebody who's looking for female attention or validation or whatever it is. Or they just want to show off. Some guys do. They're like, oh, I can lift this much. Can you help me? And they want to show off the weight that they can lift. But to me, I don't care. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about how big your biceps are. I don't care about how much you can lift, like weight-wise, numbers-wise. I don't care. If you're a healthy individual, if you like working out for the right reasons, if you have a healthy mindset, you have a healthy lifestyle, great, good for you. I respect that. But the respect is earned, right?
Is there a difference to like training men as opposed to women, like other than like the dynamics of just working with them?
Well,
like,
because their bodies and physiques are completely different. So men and women's bodies are different.
Because there's a lot of
build muscle differently.
Like, oh, I don't want to get bulky.
Yes,
I don't want to
exactly.
lift weights.
There's all those stereotypes that with women specifically, and hormones. Like hormones are different than men's, but that does not say that men's are not important in that either. Men's hormones are just as important when they're trying to lose weight or gain muscle. So there are different physiques and different body types and different factors and different ways to train both. And so that's why also I don't believe in like the whole one size fits all plans, because it's not the truth, because everybody's body is different. Everybody's genetics are different. Everybody's background's different, right? So there are differences in training men and women. And also because I've specialized in like adaptive fitness and like elderly fitness.
What's I guess adaptive?
Adaptive fitness is like anyone with any kind of disability. So I have like wheelchair clients, and I have elderly clients, so people in their like 60s, 70s, 80s who are way less mobile. So it's adapting to their circumstances and being able to still allow them to get exercise in, get movement in, help them with nutrition. Because that's a whole different phase of life too, and a whole different way of training also. So I think of it, it's funny when people are like, oh, you're an adaptive trainer, you only do this with these people. I think of personal training in general as adaptive training because every single person is unique. Every single person has different things that they have to adapt to, or their circumstances are different, or you may have, injuries from the past. Like you said, you played football and sports growing up. You may have old injuries that you feel in the gym now. And as you're getting older, you can feel it, right? So different things that you have to work with and adapt to, and not necessarily just ignore, or not necessarily say, oh, because I have this injury, I can't do it. Like, you don't make it as an excuse. You can work through it.
Or work around it.
Or find
something that's going to work for that person.
Exactly. You find a way to make it work for the individual no matter what their circumstances are. And so I think that's a huge part of, like, what I do is I really do, like, the problem solving of, like, okay, this is the situation. This is the circumstance. This is what you feel like you can and can't do. This is what we're going to be able to do to make it work for them.
I think that's important for someone like you, that you can actually customize it, like, kind of to what they need. Because, I mean, you see all these fitness trainers, like, which is, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It could be wrong if they don't do it right. With a lot of, like, online training, they have, like, 400 clients. Like, well, they're probably not sitting down with 400 people. No, they're pretty much just, like, white labeling the whole template and just sending it out to them.
It is. It's a one size fits all. Here you go. Good luck.
Yeah. So how do you deal, like, what are the pros and cons of, like, physical like training, like, I guess
in person and online. Yeah. So that's a big question in this industry. In person, I believe a lot in person because you do get more out of it. You're working with that person. You're seeing them in person. You're building that connection with them. You're building that, like rapport, that relationship. You're seeing what they're capable of. You're seeing their actual progress in person, and you're there as accountability. right? Like when you can say, oh, I'm not going to go to the gym today because XYZ. These are my excuses today. But when you have like a set appointment with a coach and you're like, oh, they're going to come
They're waiting
on this
for me.
day.
I better show up.
Yeah, I've got to show up. They're waiting for me, or they're counting on me, or, you know, they're coming over today. I need to make sure that I'm ready for that, you know? So that accountability piece is huge. And that's where my in-person clients, I've seen like the biggest transformations in progress, because it's a consistent basis, right? You're consistently showing up for them, but that allows them to consistently show up for themselves. And that's like the most important thing, is then they start to realize that, and they start to build that habit of like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, especially with my elderly clients. Because when you're old and you're aging and you're in your 80s and you're a grandparent, you don't really do much throughout the day. Like, you're retired, you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to do anything, but this gives them something to look forward to. Gives them like something to get out of bed for that day. Like, oh yeah, this person's gonna come over and we're gonna work out today and I gotta do this. But then they feel accomplished for doing that. So then it becomes something like, oh yeah, they feel good about, they feel like they're getting stronger, it's easier to move around in their house, whatever it is like they're doing in their lifestyle, but it gives them something to like actually look forward to and work towards, instead of just like, I'm just gonna sit at home today and do nothing.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that is online. Online is a big thing, because as a personal trainer, you only have 24 hours in the day. You can't have that many clients. Like, there's only one of me. I, throughout the day, cannot have more than a certain amount of clients for the day, right? Just because time-wise, I don't have time for that. So even if I was booked back to back to back to back every hour, there's only so many hours in that day that I can see people, right?
Yeah.
So at some point you get to a plateau, or you get to a point where you hit like a hard stop of like, this is only how much money I can make doing in person, because this is the amount of clients that I can take in that day. So you get to that hard stop, and a lot of people like to resort to online training because it's less one-on-one, less of your time in the day, less, commute. Like for me, I drive to a lot of my clients. I go all over the place. Like, I'm in Greeley, I'm in Loveland, I'm in Longmont, I'm in Fort Collins. Like, I have clients everywhere. But that is also taking time in my day. So me driving 45 minutes to get to a client, spending an hour with them, and then driving another 45 minutes to another client, that's 2 hours of my day wasted from driving. So 2 hours of my day that I cannot be spending with clients. So the online side of that, some people are a little bit more individually motivated and like that. They like to have an app, they like to have the workouts, they like to have their own nutrition plan and get to the gym when they want to, or do their at-home workouts when they need to, and they can be individually motivated and driven as long as they have the plan. They know what they're supposed to be doing, then they can do it. Like, I was very much like that when I started to get back into my routine, because I realized like I had hit a spot in my life where I didn't want to be, and I knew I needed to change something. I just needed a plan. Once I got a plan, I was like, I'm going for it. Then I went from 0 days a week of training to 6 days a week, because I knew it was important for me and I could do that. I just needed a plan every single day when I was at the gym, and I could do it. I could execute. I could get it done. I could feel good about myself. So I do think that there are positives for online training other than just making additional money with online clients, because then it is less of your time that you have to put into it, but you're still helping people and they're still able to like make progress on their own. It doesn't work for everybody, but for some people it can be really beneficial. Also with that, like all these new apps and things that we do have available makes it really easy, because you can build programs on there. You have the videos to show them how to do the exercises. You have the plan to be able to track your food, track your macros, your calories, your protein every day, to have that log to track to see where your actual habits are in your eating. It's great to see. And it makes it so much easier when you have the app and you can just search food and it'll bring it up for you. You don't have to know the actual nutrition facts. You throw away the label on what you're eating. You don't know how many calories or what carbs or protein was in it. You can just look it up on the app and it finds it for you. So it makes it so much more convenient for people to be able to do that without having to like stress about like, oh my gosh, I don't know exactly how much I ate of this and I don't know what, the label said, or I went to a restaurant and ate something and I don't know what was in it. You can literally look it up. It has restaurants on there. It has fast food on there. It has a label. Like you can take photos of labels.
Which one are you talking? The fitness?
Yeah, I use Trainer Eyes.
Okay. Which is is that?
I like Trainer Eyes the best. I've tried a couple different ones, but I like Trainer Eyes the best personally for me.
Is that just for like the
The
like
macros?
the macros and stuff.
I count macros and calories for my clients, but then I have their workouts on there. I can see their like photos if they upload photos and they want like physique assessments. You can track their weight on there. You can do water habits, drinking water throughout the day. You can do sleep habits if they need to sleep more, because that's all important. Like I believe in total body wellness. I think it's all included, all involved. I think there's very much some very serious like benefits to focusing on all of those things. But yeah, so using the apps makes it really easy and convenient for people to be able to move forward in a healthy way, right? So you can take less of those excuses out of that, being like, I don't know what this is. Well, actually, you can look it up, and it shows you exactly what's in it.
Yeah, like right now I use the Beastly app. It's like this YouTuber, he like made his own app, and it has like the workouts. Like you can choose like different style of workouts if you want to do push pull legs, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it has like the exercises, the videos, and then also has like recipes that you could do that are like macro friendly.
Oh yeah,
and it's
that's
like
great.
an all in one stop kind of app, and that's like what I started using. It's been good so far.
See, and
then you could also like upload your progress pictures. 'Cause I think that's a very big key to it too, because you might not see the numbers on the scale going down, but you can see like you start getting
you can see a difference in your body, especially when you start strength training and you put on muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat, so it is hard for some people who just look at the scale, because then they're like, oh, it's not changing, or I gained weight, or this happened on the scale. But you look at their actual bodies and their measurements, and you can see a difference. Like you're building muscle and you're losing fat simultaneously, but they're not equal in that way, right? Like one weighs more than the other, so it's not going to be equal in that moment. That's why also each client is individualized and different, so they need different things to be motivated. Some people are focused on the number on the scale, and you have to constantly remind them of that. Some people don't like the photos. Some people are really uncomfortable uploading the photos of themselves, and they don't like to see that. They don't want to see themselves or take those pictures because they are ashamed. But once they do, they're happy about it, because then they can actually see the physical changes in their bodies over time, right? And then some people like the inches. Some people like to be measured. They want to see the inches drop, because maybe they don't like looking at themselves, or maybe they don't like to measure themselves based on the scale and the weight itself. So you have to like constantly, you have to talk to people. You have to get to know people. You have to work with people, see what motivates them, see what's harder for them, see what's more shameful for them, like find where they're comfortable. You have to meet them where they are in order to get them where they want to go. Right?
Yeah. And just finding that overall balance with everything.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not healthy to weigh yourself every day.
No, it's not. And that's something I encourage people not to do. I'm like, do not do that.
Yeah, that's another thing I used to do. And it just like leads you down
it does. And then you're like waiting every single day for like something to drop. No. You should not fixate ever on that.
Let me starve myself today to see that number drop.
See me drop. No, not healthy. Not healthy. No, I think though it is good to have a starting point, because then you can see your progress over time. You don't necessarily have to do it every day, every week, but eventually, you should see when you start getting on a consistent basis, you do see that progress, or you see that weight drop off, or you see the physical changes, or they drop a size in clothes. That's what's important, because then they start to feel good about that in that way.
Yeah. And that's like perfect timing too, with like the new year with the new year coming around. Like start setting your goals now. Ideally start now, so you don't start like on January 1st.
That's the other thing. It's like you don't need an excuse. Again, that's an excuse. If you wait to the new year, you're waiting. Oh, the new year comes. Actually, I'm going to wait till this time. That's when the excuses start to pile up.
I'll start on Monday.
Yeah, I'm going to start on Monday.
Monday never comes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've had people who do that, who reach out to me and they're like, I'm going to start on this day because of this. I'm like, okay, but then they never do.
I'm gonna start after the holidays. So I can just go to town. But then they never like come back and reach out to me. I'm like, exactly. So you knew you weren't going to, but you wanted to. You're just not there yet. You're not ready for that step yet. So
if someone does want to reach out to you and book you, what's the easiest way?
Instagram or Facebook. Usually I do a lot of just DMs. Like I said, I like to talk to people personally. I don't like to have like a forum where they can book a call and just have like my days scheduled out by calls, because I do see a lot of in-person clients. So I want most of my energy to go to my current clients that I see in person. So if I can start a conversation with somebody, over messaging, over Instagram, over Facebook, then I can also see how serious they are about actually getting into the gym, getting into training, getting into nutrition. Because again, I think intention. if you're serious about changing your life and if you're serious about like wanting to lose weight or getting stronger, you need to be the one advocating for yourself. You need to be the driving force behind that. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'll answer your questions. I'll talk to you. I'll let you know like what my brand of, health and fitness looks like, what I'm going to expect of you, like things like that, what we can figure out that works with your schedule and your life. But you have to be the driving force behind that, because it takes that like internal drive and that internal motivation for somebody to actually like take that step. And if you're willing to take that step and you're like messaging me and you're wanting to sign up like right away and you have these goals and you're down, you're answering the questions I have for you about your lifestyle, your diet, all the things like, when you do a consult with somebody, if you're responsive and you're communicating and you're willing to like get on that right away and start right away, then I know that person is going to do well. Then I know that person is committed. They're committed to bettering themselves. And it's also going to be more beneficial for me and my time, because then I'm not wasting time waiting on people who are never ready. So I don't think it's my job to like coax people or sell people into training. I don't believe in that. I feel like if you do have to convince somebody to train with you, then you've already lost that battle. Then you already know that person is not going to stay committed. They're not going to follow through on what they say they're going to do or following the plan, right? They're going to be inconsistent.
It's going to fall at some point.
Yeah, and at some point they're going to, drop off, or they're not going to want to do it anymore. So I think it has to come from that person when you're ready to take that next step and you're willing to do the work and you're willing to follow through on that, then you're going to be successful. But if I have to sit there and let me follow up, then it's not going to happen. They're not going to be motivated. So I think when they finally come to me and they're like, yes, I'm ready right now, let's do it. Great. I'm all for it. I'm willing to help you. Mm-hmm. I think it does take time, and that's why I also that's my personal philosophy. Like, I don't think that being overly salesy and pushing my training and pushing me and all this stuff I don't think that's beneficial for anybody, because then at that point those people feel like maybe pressured to work with me, or they're like, oh, well, I guess so. Like, she's shaming me because I'm fat to lose all this weight. Then I guess I need to. No, I would never want to make somebody feel like that. So, but I think when they want to take that next step and they're ready to, they're unstoppable. At that point, working with a coach, right, who's willing to work with them, at that point, then I think that they can take off. But it does. It takes them coming to you and really pushing. I've also had people who have come to me for somebody else.
That doesn't work, huh?
Nope, absolutely not. So again, if somebody else is coming to me and being like, hey, so-and-so needs training in my family, then it's like, that's great that you're looking out for them, and it's awesome that you're reaching out and you're getting information maybe to go to them with. But until they reach out to me themselves, until they have that drive and that follow through to be like, okay, what is this about? Let's get this done, or let's figure something out. It's not going to work for them. You can't, if somebody's like, oh, I'll pay for training for this person. Yay, that's great. That's a great gesture. That's a great way to support them. But unless they come to me themselves and they're like, actually, yeah, I really do want to do this, it's not going to work. It's not going to work for that person.
That's funny. So all in all, guys, stop putting fucking excuses and do something.
If you want to change your life, you will. And if you don't, you won't. I think what you aren't changing, you're choosing. So if you're not changing your life, then you're choosing that life. And that's simple. It's just simple as that. Yeah.
I like it.
That's my go-to. That's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, think about it. If you're unhappy with something in your life, instead of complaining about it, change it. If you don't know how to change it, find somebody who can help you. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Simple.
Simple.
Well, otherwise, you're choosing that lifestyle, and then at that point, I don't care to hear about it.
It's the definition of craziness, doing the same thing over and over.
Right, insanity.
Expecting something
a different result. You can't complain that you're fat, and do nothing about it.
Yeah.
You're the only one who's saying that about yourself, and if you don't like that about yourself, then you need to do something to change it. Or if you're somebody that's like, I just want to be stronger, and I like to work out, but I don't know how to get stronger. They don't know how to actually build more strength.
Yeah.
Great. But you can't just say that, oh, I want to get stronger. You have to actually do something about it, do the work, change something. And that's the hard part. People are scared of change.
They hate it.
They hate it. It's uncomfortable, but it's important. So it is. It takes a big step when you want to change something. It's a big step forward that you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, and that's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well,
I love it. I love being uncomfortable.
you got to. If you want to grow, you got to do it.
You do. And I love that, like, again, mentality of like, you know what? I enjoy being uncomfortable because it makes me grow. Instead of like, oh no, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Again, the language of it, right, is different.
It's completely different.
And then it has a different connotation in your head and the way you think about it and the negative versus positive, right? So it is. If you're like, nope, I hate change, I hate being uncomfortable, I'm not going to do it. Okay, but you're always going to be in that same position. You're always going to feel that same way, and that negativity is just going to grow and grow and grow.
Keep going.
Yep, it's going to keep pulling you down instead of pushing you forward.
Awesome.
So,
well, I appreciate it. I mean, it was awesome. That's great. So, guys, if you guys listen to that, take responsibility, stop putting excuses, and change.
Yep.
Change because you want to change.
Yeah.
Not
exactly.
because somebody else told you to.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't have said it any better. Kylie,
Right.
thank you again for coming on, making the trip down here.
Thanks for having me.
We'll put all
a
your
little bit on this.
Yeah, we'll put all your information down below. So if people want to go check you out,
Awesome.
they can for sure check you out. But guys, remember that an act of rebellion is to question. Catch you guys on the next one.